Hello, welcome to the Quantum Recovery Podcast. Today we are talking about pro opioid melanocortin, which is the long name for POMC. You have heard me talk about POMC just a little bit, and whenever I refer to it, I have not explained it, and because I really wanted to do a full episode about it. And listening to Dr. Alexis Cowan, she has really explained it over and over when I hear her speak about it in a way that helped me understand it more and also be able to find the connections with how and why I would talk about it on here, because we want to be figuring out what are the things that help you in early recovery heal faster. Now, we've talked about post-acute withdrawal syndrome in the past. These are abstinence-based symptoms that take the first 2 years of recovery really to start to kind of fall away, but some of them can linger longer depending. And also, this is a good episode for people in long-term recovery. I didn't know about this and did not address my light environment until I was 10 years in, and I wasn't even doing the full light practice until I was 14 years into recovery. So this is very, very helpful. And I think can really it can just really put somebody far into their healing, addressing their light environment. And one of the things I want to just recap on before we get into POMC is the aromatic amino acids that are so when we're getting our sunlight protocol, and I very much encourage you to go back and listen to that episode on sunlight. So we're talking about that second part of the sun sequence. So first being sunrise, and then an hour after sunrise in most areas, we have UV rise. So that UVA rise is going to help with the neurotransmitters, adrenaline, serotonin. The precursors to that, though, are what is being where they're coming from. So something always has to happen first. For the cascade to happen, we don't just get those. Things have to happen before that. So sunrise helps prep us for the UVA. The UVA rise actually gives rise to the aromatic amino acids, acid alanine, tryptophan, and tyrosine to make melatonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, adrenaline, all those. Now, I'm saying that because if you recall, I talked about how the role of each of those actually addresses our post-acute withdrawal syndrome. So for instance, serotonin helps with the sleep cycle, helps with depression and anxiety and carbohydrate cravings and all of that. So POMC is going to take us a step further. And this is something that we're getting from UVB light. So we're not going to dive all into the UVA and the aromatic amino acids, but I do want you to just go back and listen to that, because that is the sunlight protocol. It is how we can be in the sun in a healthy way, without burning. There's a protocol for it. And I'm saying all this in case you're listening to this episode, the first episode, do go back and listen, because this information does stack kind of on top of each other. And so what is POMC? POMC is a gene, and it's a polypeptide precursor of hormones and neuropeptides. And it ends up cleaving into 10 products, 5 of which are from the hypothalamus, 5 of which are from the anterior pituitary. Now, there is a great paper by Erica Harno that I will link in the show notes. So very important, alpha, beta, gamma, MSH is going to help us with new melanin, and it's also going to control our BMR, our basal metabolic rate. And it also is going to increase our metabolism. It's going to decrease appetite. I'm going to give you a whole list of benefits because I don't want to get overwhelmed with the sciencey stuff. But some of the other products it cleaves into is alpha, beta, gamma, endorphins. They modulate the immune system. So does the clip that has to do with the immune system. And this is also going to help with mental health, cognition. It's going to help regulate dopamine levels. This is huge for us in recovery. Huge. So I'm going to go into a huge list of benefits, but before I do, so the POMC, there's receptors all on our skin, mainly our belly, the back of our calves, in our eyes. Remember, you always want to be getting the sun with nothing covering your eyes, because that stimulus of the light is going to hit the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is behind our eye, and that is actually going to set, that's our master clock. It's sending a signal to all the mini master clock, like the mini clocks on every single cell in our body. That is how our body knows what time it is and what time of day it is and what to do and all of these things. So the cascade of hormones that we want to see is happening inside the body, in the hypothalamus, in the immune system, and many other places. And this is all being synthesized in the medulla and the pituitary. So that's the details for those of you who want to know. And there's beautiful pictures too in the article that I'm going to post in the show notes if you want to look at that. Now, the good stuff, the benefits. All right. So the benefits: mood regulation, the feel-good hormones. We're going to have the ability to critically think. It's going to improve our mental health. It's going to reduce anxiety, depression. It's going to improve body composition. It's going to increase our libido. There's an appetite reduction, and we're therefore less inclined to eat junk. Now I'm going to stop here. This is about half of the benefits. I'm going to stop here and just say, think about post-acute withdrawal syndrome. What do we have happen when we have post-acute withdrawal? We have irritability, mood dysregulation. Our hormones from our active use are all out of whack, because cause symptoms are mitochondrial dysfunction. They are a loss of energy, if you will. And part of our body getting back online is reducing the inflammation in the mitochondria that we caused by using some kind of outside drug. So whether that was methamphetamine, opiates, benzodiazepines, whatever the thing was. So we wreaked a lot of havoc on our cells. And I don't know about you all, but I certainly was not abiding by circadian rhythm patterns. In fact, I'd stay up days at a time, and then the sun being out was actually a sign, like, party's over, go inside. So I was literally not being outside when I was supposed to, not sleeping when I was supposed to. Many of us, no matter what your DOC or drug of no choice was, I'm sure you relate. You very well were not sleeping when you were supposed to be sleeping, and not getting sunrise and all the things. But most of us were not. And we know, based on the research, that addressing circadian rhythm is huge for reducing cravings. Therefore, when we reduce cravings, we have the less likelihood of returning to use. Okay. So I'm going to keep going here with some of the benefits. And a lot of them have to do with our metabolism, because that is literally part of what the mitochondria do. They are all about our metabolism. It's how we metabolize the food we eat, it's how we synthesize the light and the electrons that come in through grounding, all of that. So it's very, very important to just kind of understand that by doing these things, you're going to help your metabolism. And who gained weight in early recovery? Yeah, I did. And that was a huge trigger. And so, and I know for many people it is. And we also end up really craving sugar. Well, that makes sense now from a quantum lens for me. When we're craving that, the sugar and everything, our bodies are always going to crave what we're going to crave if we don't give the body the nutrients it needs. So we're going to be craving the sugar. We're going to be craving foods that, probably aren't good for us. And those foods by design are processed ones I'm talking about, like the candies and all that. Those are positively charged processed foods, and they are by nature addictive, or by design addictive for us. So we have that like as a layer on top, and I'm not shaming anybody for like eating the candies and eating the sugar or whatnot, but we do want to stabilize our metabolism. And it took me a really long time for that to happen. And I hope that it doesn't take you as long. If you do this light protocol, it very likely won't take you as long. And you'll also have all these other benefits layered on top. And you will start to not feel the intensity of the post-acute withdrawal syndromes as much if we are getting the sunlight and allowing it to help us heal. So it also is going to help synthesize melanin. It's going to improve cognition, memory, focus, brain fog, all of which are the opposite of those things are our pause, are the post-acute withdrawal. It's going to elevate and regulate the baseline dopamine level. So it's going to reset our hedonic set point. Remember that happiness level, our hedonic set point is just really crap. And because we're dopamine resistant, right? And we need to sensitize ourselves back to feeling true dopamine, not the cheap hits from the phone and the notifications and all of that, but real sustainable levels. So when you see, really healthy food, you get excited to eat it. When you see your grandmother, you get excited about that and that community and the love. And when you see your peers in the recovery community or whatever, that those are natural levels of dopamine that we want to feel. And we can sensitize ourselves much faster if we get the right light. It's going to help maintain our blood sugar and protect our body from stress. It's going to help with lower inflammation and also pain relieving. Now, these are the benefits of POMC if we are getting sun. If we are under artificial blue light, what happens is we get raised blood glucose, we get raised cortisol, raised insulin. We actually have our fat storage turned on. We don't want that turned on. We want to be burning our fat. So notice I didn't say anything about eating. So you literally don't even need to eat that cookie. And just from being in blue light at the wrong time of day, you are going to raise your blood sugar, raise your cortisol, raise insulin. The MSH, I can't remember if it's the alpha or which one it is, but it is in the research about obesity. So if some of you have that as an underlying health condition, then you are losing energy to your environment. That environment being that indoor modern lifestyle, our light environment. So this will be huge to help any of those people that may be listening to start to stabilize some of those levels. All righty. So see as our DOC, our drug of choice, right? So many of you have heard people say, oh, we're supposed to be addicted to the sun. And we do not mean by any means that you should be out in the sun the wrong time, like for, just jumping into the UVB light and out there burning. No, go back, listen to my sunlight protocol, make sure you're getting the little bits at the specific times of day. So you can build your solar callus, so you can build the melanin in your skin. That's protective. A sign of having a tan is a sign of health. And with all of the things that I mentioned as benefits, right? Just think about all of those things are naturally going to have us be addicted to that light. We would be addicted to the sunlight if we're getting all of those benefits. It makes complete sense. So remember, POMC is producing neurons that release endorphins and other peptides that target the opiate receptors. And those are within the reward areas, and they elicit the associated rewarding effects. I cannot stress enough. It really doesn't matter what your drug of choice or drug of no choice was. Okay. It was affecting the receptors, the and cannabinoids, the endorphins, and those endogenous opioid receptors. It was affecting all of it. So think about how POMC, getting this cascade happening in the body, can really address and sensitize us back to how we're supposed to feel, those natural pain relieving effects, the natural ways that we handle stress. Because remember, one of the post-acute withdrawal symptoms that are really, really that's really common for everyone, is the inability to handle stress or low stress tolerance. So getting this light can really help with that. Can really, really help with that. I can't stress enough how important light is, and I'm never going to shut up about it. I'm always going to be talking about the light because it does so many things for our body, especially for those of us who are recovering from addiction. It elevates and regulates the baseline dopamine levels. So we chatted about that. And then remember the UVA rise and all of the things happening with the aromatic amino acids turning into serotonin and dopamine and adrenaline and noradrenaline and melatonin. All of that cascade is happening. And then also anyone that is listening to this, that, if you are in recovery from addiction, you are going to benefit from getting outside in the light. And I strongly encourage, if you have not already, go back, listen to the sunlight episodes that I've done, because you will get a full picture. Remember, this was just the POMC was something I mentioned in the past that I wanted to cover today to make sure that everybody had an understanding of what this is and why it is so important. And remember, I am learning about this stuff, making these connections from the quantum biology and the addiction recovery. And as I learn more connections, I will share them with you. But these connections are huge, huge. So get out there and get your sun. We are, nearing the end of summer. And well, at least most of us are nearing the end of summer. So really, try to get the sunrise, the UVA, the UVB, while it's still in your latitude, especially for those of us who are in a higher latitude. Personally, I live at the 45th latitude and I'm in Minnesota right now. And I believe that's the same latitude. So I'm up there in the lower to mid 40s. So it's important that you understand where you're living and when that UVB is going to stop, when it starts again, all of that. And the D-Minder app, which I've mentioned before, and I'll link it in the show notes, the D-Minder app is going to tell you how long to stay in the sun. And, typically we should be outside 6 to 8 hours. Many of us can't do that on a regular day, but what we can do is we can, if you can, you can be outside on those days that you're, not working or whatnot. But also being outside just in the light. You don't have to be in the sun the whole time. I'm not saying that, but seek shade when you need to and use the D-Minder app to guide you on how long, based on your Fitzpatrick skin type and a couple of other information that you will plug into the app. It will let you know. It'll give you a timer and all that stuff. So I hope that you found this episode helpful. And yeah, drink water. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found value in this information. And if you did, please share it. Another way to support the podcast is to leave a 5-star review. If you want to connect, you can message me on Instagram or email me at andeearay@outlook.com. And remember, drink water.